How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another nightly review. Today, I will be going over the Golden Knights' 5-1 victory over the Colorado Avalanche. Wow. That game last night was the best game the Golden Knights have played of the playoffs. Like, my lord, they were the better team in every single period of play against the Avs last night. And if they can keep this up, they they could take the series. So let's get into it. So Ryan Reaves returned from his suspension. Nothing suspendable last night. He played pretty well, got a point. Reaves had a good game. Also, Braden McNabb returned from his injury. He had an underratedly good game. He had a pretty good defensive performance last night, and he had a pretty good chance later on in the game. But going into the period, Stevenson got a huge chance about 15 seconds in, and then Reaves would get the next big chance. However, the puck would go down the other way. Shots were 3-0 at that point. There was about a minute and go the other way. Comfer would shoot. Fleury couldn't control the rebound. None of the defenders knew where the puck was, and Saad had a wide open net to shoot at with the rebound. And that made it 1-0 about a minute in from Comfer and Burakovsky. And it was weird. I know that they were down one, and of course I was somewhat concerned, but weirdly, I was still decently confident in this game, considering how the Golden Knights had started and how well they had been playing. So after that, Carrier would get the next big chance of the game. Then Nemeth would hold Brown. Nemeth did not have the greatest game for really any player on the Avs. In fact, he was probably the worst player out on the ice all night. He took a penalty. He had 3 different Golden Knights goals. He was on the ice and was a major cause of both of them. So, yeah, not exactly what you want out of one of your defensemen. On that power play, Stone would get a chance, and Fleury would stop Yost shorthanded, although not much would happen on that power play. After that, Theodore would get a chance. It's 6 minutes into the game. Golden Knights are out shooting the Avs 10-3. 10-3. That's the shots, 10-3. Ridiculous. After that, Fleury would stop Saad, but going the other way, Riley Smith would get the puck from behind the net off of a turnover. He would get past Grubauer, shoot the puck. You thought he scored. I thought he scored, but it actually went off the crossbar. The puck falls down. Marshy tries to bat the puck in. It gets batted out. Nemeth has the puck. He passes it right to William Karlsson, who gets it and deflects it off of Marchessault's stick into the net. And there you go. It is 1-1. One of the most confusing goals I've ever watched. So there you go. 1-1 Golden Knights. 1-1 for the Golden Knights from Marchessault and Karlsson. I think Riley Smith should have an assist. But yeah, after that, Stone would get the next chance. Then McKinnon would get one of his few chances in this game. One of the things that's really been good in this series is the Golden Knights have been able to neutralize the Avs' top 2 lines for most of it. Now, if the series goes long enough, I believe Kadri would come back in Game 6, but I heard someone say Game 7, and I don't know if they're wrong. But Kadri would come back in Game 6, and he would add a lot to those top 2 lines, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens should he come back. And, yeah, the top 2 lines for the Avs were pretty neutralized. I mean, they had probably their best game since, I don't know, Game 1. But those 2 lines, they had their chances, but they couldn't get anything going. And the second line for the Avs really only looked dangerous in the first period. The line that looked the most dangerous in this game out of both teams was the Karlsson line. The Karlsson line looked incredible. They were dominant whenever they were on the ice, and the score when they were on the ice reflects that. So continuing on, Pacioretty would get the next chance. Then Fleury would stop Sherwood. Then there was a big interference that I believe they hit Nick Waugh that should have been called. And noticing that after that, there were a lot of interferences on both sides that should have been called, and they just weren't. No matter what, when there was a team, it was just this weird portion, like the end of the first, beginning of the second, where there was a lot of interferences in the first, and whenever a team was in their offensive zone, the defenders would interfere with them the entire time, and there'd just be no calls. It was odd, but yeah. Next, Timmins would get a chance, and Pietrangelo would he'd block a shot that took him out. He'd come back, luckily, so thank God. There was another play where Alex Tuck got shaken up, but he just went and sat back on the bench, so the Golden Knights scaring us still. After that, Marchessault would trip Donskoy, but the NBC broadcast was weirdly Avalanche focused, and they were really they talked all night about how the Avs top players were going to make some impacts. And this was my favorite one where, okay, so 22 seconds into the Marchessault power play, or into the Avs power play, Makar interferes with Smith. Now, it is an interference. It's not a very strong interference, but it's definitely an interference. But the announcers were talking about Cale Makar. And literally seconds before they call the penalty, let's see what impact Cale Makar has on this power play. Seconds later, he takes a penalty. I just thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, so on that 4-on-4, Fleury would stop Rantanen. Nothing else would really happen. But yeah, then in the second period, by the way, shots in the first 15-10 for the Golden Knights. 1-1. Colorado, considering the chances I said for each team, they're kind of lucky to come out of this period 1-1. So the Golden Knights would do nothing with the 22-second power play they had at the beginning of the second, but a 3-on-2 would happen. Pacioretty, Stone, and Stevenson would get the rush. Makar would try to pinch on Stone. Stone would pass it to Pacioretty. Pacioretty would absolutely snipe it right over Grubauer's right shoulder or left shoulder, and that would score. And it's 2-1 Golden Knights. Then the Avs would try to get into the zone. And one of the Avs ran into the ref, and the ref knocked the Avalanche player's stick out of his hand. And because of that, it totally shut down the entire Avs rush. And the Golden Knights sent the puck the other way. And out of that, Karlsson would get a chance. So, yeah, the weird ref interference. Anyway, Fleury would rob JT Compher. Then the Avalanche would push. That was probably their best part of the game, and Fleury would hold. Fleury would stop Makar out of that. Marchessault and Smith would get a big chance back-to-back. Then Burakovsky would hold Alex Tuck on that power play. Marchessault would get a chance. However, the puck would get back to Marchessault. Great pass from Alex Pietrangelo, and that made it 3-1. Grubauer had to come back off his post. Marchessault shot it the way he was coming from, and Grubauer had pinched too far to the short side, and he scored. From Pietrangelo and Karlsson. That was kind of a weird power play, because that was the power play where Burakovsky totally horse-collared Tuck. That was a pretty overt penalty. But out of that, they also gave Compher, there was a big scrum, and they gave Compher and Tuck roughing calls. I don't think those were necessary, considering it was a 5-on-4 power play, but hey. So after that power play, Waugh would get a chance in front, then the Golden Knights would get their big push. And it was pretty funny. The Golden Knights just seemed to have this power over the Avs all game. And I don't think a play really exemplifies that other than, so the McKinnon line's out there, Rantanen has it in the corner, and Alex Pietrangelo just walks up to Mikko Rantanen and just takes the puck off of his stick. I couldn't believe what I saw. Like, Pietrangelo just walked up to him and said, whoop, I guess it's mine now. And yeah, the puck would go the other way, but going back the other way, Rantanen would get a chance. Fleury would stop him. Fleury didn't have to be incredible up to this point. And shots were, I believe, 9-5 after the second period. Golden Knights come out of it 3-1. And yeah, shots at this point in the game are 24-15. So yeah, not exactly the best play from the Avs, although I think they took a shot away from the Avs because the total shots are even worse for the Avs. I think they did take a shot away in the first or second period. So yeah. So early on third, Donskoy would hit a post. White Cloud would get a delay of game penalty. The Golden Knights with probably their best penalty kill of the series. That was an important penalty kill because if the Avs score, they're back in the game. 5 shot blocks on that penalty kill. Great. No shots for the Avs. Then Riley Smith would get a chance, but the puck would go over to Marchessault, who came from around the net. Smith with a great pass. Marchessault with a wide open net to shoot at, and he gets the hat trick from Smith and Karlsson, making it 4-1. Marchessault's first career playoff hat trick. He's the first Golden Knight to get 20 playoff goals. And yeah, that kind of felt like it was it for the game at that point. After that, Wah would get a chance, and then Makar would hit a post. And at that point, that's 8 minutes into the third period. Avs have 2 posts, but no shots. The Avs are desperately trying to get back into this game, and they just cannot get shots. Stevenson got a 2-on-1 chance where he tried to pass it, but I think it just hit Grubauer instead. And out of that, the rebound would come to Braden McNabb, who'd get a big chance, but Grubauer would stop it. After that, Alex Tuch would get a chance. And then, shockingly, the fourth line, Brown, Reeves, and Carrier would get a 3-on-2. And Reeves would make an excellent pass to Brown, who's right in front. And I was like, oh, okay, Grubauer stopped that. And then I saw him travel backwards, farther and farther and farther into the net. And I was like, that's a goal. What is Grubauer doing? So out of that, there was an official review, which basically said, yeah, Grubauer traveled farther back, and you can clearly see in this picture that the puck is clearly across the goal line all of the way. And so, yeah, that was a goal. And then Jared Bednar made a very odd challenge. I mean, I guess you do the challenge because if you don't, the game's over. But it wasn't a great challenge to do because it was pretty clearly not goalie interference. I mean, Brown's stick was there, but he was more going for the puck and less pushing Grubauer into the net with it. It was Grubauer's momentum that carried him back. So that was a goal from Reeves and Carrier for Patrick Brown. By the way, hilarious stat. Patrick Brown has the same amount of playoff goals this year as Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid combined. So, this is a funny stat. So the Avs would get a delay game penalty out of that. Nothing happened on that power play, and nothing really happened the rest of this game. The Golden Knights really just made it quiet those last, 5 minutes. And yeah, the Avs just got nothing. So out of that, Golden Knights take this game 5-1 over the Colorado Avalanche. Shots in the third period. In a period where the Avs were only down 2 going in, they were outshot 11-4. They would need to have scored on all 4 shots to make this game overtime. That is not a recipe for winning. Total shots in the game, 35-18. Shots since the beginning of Game 2 in this series, 110-52 for the Golden Knights. And I don't understand because the announcers were talking about how well the Avs were playing early in this game. And even then, it was like the shots when they were talking about it were like 12-6. And I just found it odd that you're talking about how well a team's playing when they're being outshot 2-1 and the game's tied. So, yeah, power plays, Golden Knights at 1-for-4, Avs 0-for-2. And, yeah, so 3 stars of the game for me, Jonathan Marchessault. William Karlsson had 3 assists, so pretty good. And Max Pacioretty with just that highlight reel snipe. And there you go. I did not have any problems with really any game any Golden Knights player had last night. It was a very, very impressive game for this team. And now they're going back to Denver tied. So while we were all concerned going in back to Vegas that it was down to nothing, they had played a great game too. And they really just got screwed in that game. So yeah, they've played two excellent games on home ice, and they put up 5 on Philip Grubauer. So yeah, they're getting their scoring going, and all they need to do now is they just need to go and shut down the Abs next game. And I know winning 3 in a row, when hopefully 4, is a tough, tough challenge against a team like the Avalanche. But like I said before this series, I think the Golden Knights can do this. I know that they can beat this kind of game, and if they keep playing this kind of game, it's going to be hard to beat them. They're a hard team to beat 4 times out of 7. So, yeah, I think the Golden Knights have an excellent chance at this point to win this series. This has got to be a demoralizing loss for the Avs. So, yeah, they're going back to Denver tied 2-2. And, anything can happen. But hopefully they're coming back to Vegas for game 6 and up 3-2. So, yeah. So anyways, guys, that is it for this one. If you want to get my thoughts on the game during the game, you can follow me on Twitter at 2_pad. And that is it for this one, guys. I will see you next time.